Mr. President, I know you want to set aside all this intrigue surrounding the Epstein files, but I want to ask you to clarify what you said this morning. You said it's all a hoax. Your Attorney General told you it's a hoax. What evidence have you seen? No, it's not the Attorney General. I know it's a hoax made up by the Democrats. They've been running it for 4 years now. We had Christopher Wray, that guy, and Comey before him. And that's a bad group. It all started if you look at the Steele dossier, which turned out to be a complete fabrication. 51 intelligence agents, so-called intelligence agents. It was a hoax. All of it was a big hoax. It was set up by the Democrats, and some foolish Republicans get caught in this web and try to do the Democrats' work. The Democrats are good for nothing except these hoaxes. They harm politics. They prevent candidates who can win elections from being chosen. For example, in New York, a communist is running. Maybe he'll get elected too, but he's going to destroy the city. No, that's what I call the Epstein hoax. It takes a lot of time and effort. Instead of talking about great achievements, yesterday, as you know, a remarkable person spoke and said that Trump might go down in history as the greatest president of the United States. And instead of talking about our achievements, we have achieved tremendous success. They're wasting time on a person who obviously had very serious problems and who died 3 or 4 years ago. I would prefer to talk about our economic successes, the best we've ever had, and everything we've accomplished, including the situation in the Middle East. You see, instead they want to talk about the Epstein hoax. And the saddest part is that these people are actually doing the Democrats' work. They're foolish people. Mr. President, there were many reports at the meeting that you planned to fire Jerome Powell, who was the head of the Federal Reserve, and the market reacted. Is that true? That is not true. So, it would be helpful to know if you intend to choose someone from outside or if you plan to interview those who are currently working in the office. I have a lot of people who want this position. I have people I've known for a long time. They're calling me, begging me to hire them. You know what you need? They're smart people with common sense. But for this kind of job, you need a very smart person. I think this is one of the easiest jobs in the government. You show up once a month and make a statement about where the economy is heading and whether we're going to raise or lower interest rates. This is probably the easiest job I've ever seen. That's why I'm trying to figure out why he wants to expand and hire more people. He's going to hire even more economists to tell him what to do. But economists, I was right. All the economists were wrong. They admitted it this morning. Mr. President, regarding Jerome Powell, you mentioned fraud in your previous answer. Do you want to clarify the fraud concerning the chairman of the Federal Reserve related to this renovation? Well, I think he's already under investigation. He spent much more money on the renovation than was expected. The Federal Reserve should sit and determine where interest rates are going to move and do a couple of other very simple things. And he spent $2.5 billion. I think he seems to have problems. You also reported a monthly surplus in June of $25 billion. That's a huge amount, considering the new tariff rates coming into effect on August 1st. We will get more revenue from tariffs. What kind of consistent revenue do you think we can expect from these tariffs? And how seriously will this affect not only the economy but also fiscal policy? We have already received over $100 billion and will receive hundreds of billions more. And tariffs essentially haven't really affected goods much, except for cars and steel. August 1st is an important day. August 1st is the day when very significant amounts of money come into our country. We've made agreements with many great countries, including one announced yesterday. We may soon have another, possibly with India, as negotiations are ongoing. When I send a letter, it will mean a deal. In other words, it's a deal. They never want to talk about it. Oh, how many deals have you made? The best deal we can make is to send a letter. The letter says you will pay 30%, 35%, 25%, 20%, in one case 50% for Brazil. And because what they are doing to their former president is a disgrace. I know Brazil's former president. He fought for the people like a lion, I'll say that much. I believe he is an honest man and think what they are doing to him is terrible. So yes, we have some pretty good deals that we want to announce, but every one of our letters is a deal. The most important agreement will concern 150 countries with which we are basically not negotiating. And they are smaller, we have little cooperation with them. But, we will have more than 150 countries to which we will simply send out a payment notice, and the payment notice will specify the rate, and everything will be the same for everyone. For this group, they are not small countries and they don't have that much business. It's not like those countries we've made agreements with, for example, with China or Japan, with whom we are negotiating. But I think that most likely we will act in accordance with the letter of the agreement with Japan. We are very close to an agreement with India, which will allow them to open up. Indonesia was not an open party as of yesterday, but now it has become one. And they have huge copper reserves, high quality copper, and perhaps the largest amount of it there. We made a deal with Indonesia, we pay 0 duties, and we have full access to trade. This is a phenomenal deal for our companies. And with them, as you know, we agreed on 19%. They pay 19%, and it's a good deal for them. It's a good deal for us in this case. But we have a few more of them. But overall, things are going well, and we're making a lot of money, a whole lot of money.
He is with us.
Number one, we have more oil than any other country in the world, even more than they do, which is hard to believe. But we also have a slightly bigger piece of land, right? That's right, sir. But we're number one in the world in oil production, and we're drilling. And today the price reached $64 per barrel, which is great. And that will actually help stop wars. If you want to know the truth, it will help stop wars. And we hope that we can make it a little bit lower. But our oil prices dropped to $2.25, $2.50 in many states. In one of them, the price reached $1.98 per gallon. That's great. That's one of the reasons why inflation is under control. Biden put an end to our policy and went back to his own. He didn't have an insurance policy. He sat there like a sleepwalker with a pen at the desk. He was just the one holding the pen, signing documents. I believe this is the biggest scandal, and it's what we should focus on discussing, not Jeffrey Epstein. The scandal we should be talking about is Biden with the pen. Because, in my opinion, this is one of the biggest scandals in American history. So the economy is in great shape, and people can see that. Everything that's credible about Epstein can be published. If the document is authentic, if there's a document that's credible, he can publish it. I think that's good, but actually it's just a topic. He's dead, he's gone. And the thing is, certain Republicans fell for the Democrats' bait. And they're acting according to their script and are no different from all the talk about Russia, 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 and all the other hoaxes. They were initiated by the Democrats and some Republicans. In this case, I'm surprised, but they were deceived. Mr. President, first of all, a number of your high-ranking officials, whether it's the FBI director or Pam Bondi, have made contradictory statements in the past. Well, I don't know. I can't say anything about him, but I can say that Pam Bondi, I really think, played very well. She says, I gave you all the reliable information, and if she finds even more reliable information, she will provide it. What else can she do? Honestly, what else can she do? And we have more important problems. We have problems with millions of illegals who have come here, and they are killers. Biden let 11,888 killers into our country. Sleepy Joe Biden, stupid Joe Biden, he let them into our country. We must take action. She has many responsibilities. And it's very sad when someone can just stay. I think she's doing a great job, and
it's very sad that someone can be cured, but I think she's doing a great job.